everybody? John Shiny MTG here with another deck tech. We have Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. So this deck is extremely aggro. The whole idea is to cast Kozilek as soon as possible and smash face and get that beautiful, wonderful, everyone loves it, Annihilator trigger. Annihilator 4 is pretty good in any format. Fun in Commander, of course, as well. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. So we got ourselves 10 mana, 12/12. When you cast him, you draw 4 cards. That's really one of the benefits of playing this guy, as well as you can keep your hand filled pretty much throughout the game, outside of maybe getting really screwed with your draw. But yeah, outside of that, it's pretty awesome in that regard. So without further ado, let's get to the lands. And here is the land pile. We are going to start with Blasted Landscape, add 1 colorless mana. You can cycle for 2 mana, so if you already have enough lands in play, you can go ahead and draw yourself another card. This one is altered. I know who alters a Blasted Landscape. This guy does, because you can't get it foil. So there you go, Blasted Landscape. Of course, Mishra's Factory has to make the cut because Mishra's Factory. I don't know if that's a good enough reason, but I've played the game for a very long time, so I enjoy seeing Mishra's Factory when I draw it. Even though I don't generally make 2/2 assembly workers, you know, every once in a while, you never know. Depends on the board state. Scavenger Grounds, one of the newer ones. Hour of Devastation, we got add a colorless, or you can pay 2 sack a desert, exile all cards from graveyard, so you can stop, well, at least attempt to stop decks like Carador and Marin and other fun shenanigans like, I guess, Sharoom and stuff like that. We got Darksteel Citadel, a classic, indestructible. Rashidon Port, whatever you want to call it. Pretty awesome for locking people down. The reason this one is not foil is I've been on the fence and I actually suspected a reprint, believe it or not. I was thinking about getting the Judge promo because spending $500 on a Marcadian Mask one seems out of reach. I was not lucky enough to get one back in the day, so I was waiting to see if they would reprint it, and they did. So hopefully, I'd rather get the Judge promo one. Hopefully it'll drop a little bit, but if it doesn't, then maybe I'll settle for the whatever the hell, Masters 25. Hall of the Bandit Lord, I really like this card. Even though it enters tapped, basically it's almost another version of having Lightning Greaves or Swiftfoot Boots, where it can give Kozilek haste and you get that Annihilator trigger right away, which is obviously very important. Rogue's Passage helps you. If somehow they're able to block Kozilek, this helps you so he doesn't get blocked. We got Thespian Stage, which can copy a land. Very good utility land. Blink Mothwell. This card is actually very, very good in this deck. If you play against things like Winter Orb, this is a good way to tap it before your turn, so you are lucky enough to get untaps. Not that it really matters for this deck because you play lots of artifacts, but this is an idea for other people who get locked down by Winter Orb a lot or something like that. We got Homeward Path, just in case someone's nasty enough to try to steal Kozilek from me. I can get him back. Buried Ruin, you can sacrifice it and return an artifact from your graveyard to your hand, so in case they destroy something and you need to get it back, it's a good way to get it back. Inventor's Fair is another newer card. It basically lets you sacrifice it, search for an artifact, put it in your hand, and you can activate it if you have 3 or more artifacts for 4 mana. It's not too bad. And you gain some life each turn if you have, what, 3 or more? Yeah, 3 or more artifacts. Sorry about the bump there. Alright, we got Command Beacon. Awesome card if, you know, your commander gets a little out of hand casting cost-wise. This is another option, of course. Arcane Lighthouse. Another good card. Helps stop decks that have hexproof or shroud. Things like, I don't know, Narset comes to mind. What, Lazov, I think, is another one. There's a couple of them that are just super annoying, and this helps make them less annoying. Mystifying Maze. It's kind of like Maze of Ith, except for, you know, it taps for 1 mana instead of doing nothing. Unless, of course, I have Urborg, which is nice. Urborg basically turns all the lands into swamps as well, so I can tap them for mana dependent, you know, on the situation. It can be good. We got Phyrexia's Core, where it's a sack outlet for artifacts. Here is my sack outlet for creatures, Mirroring the Moaning Well. Pretty good when you're running low on life and you can set Kozilek to it and then just recast Kozilek. Same thing with High Market. Helps protect my creatures. Then we got, what is it? Arch of Orazka. I don't know how to say that. But anyway, Ascend, so if you get the City's Blessing and all that good stuff, you can activate it for 5 mana, draw a card. 5 mana in this deck is not very difficult to reach. Seagate Wreckage. Add 1 colorless mana or pay, 3 mana, draw a card, activate this if you have no cards in hand. So this game, or this deck is really about just dumping your hand, dumping Kozilek out as quick as you can and attacking. You play things like Lion's Eye Diamond, so Seagate Wreckage has some use. You know, it has drawn me some cards. It's not a bad card. Gaia Reach Sanitarium is also pretty decent. It lets me just make mana, but also if I get into a bind, I can basically have both of us draw a card and then discard a card, which I'm actually playing this over Mikokoro right now, just because of the idea that it makes people discard a card as well. I don't know. And also Mikokoro was, yeah, another one of those things I was hoping would get reprinted, and it did, so maybe at some point I will get that one. Ghost Quarter, of course, destroys the land. Dust Bowl, of course, also destroys the land, and I'm saying of course a lot again. Here we go. Strip Mine, the best thing at destroying lands, land-wise. We got Wasteland, so we got a couple ways to deal with people's crappy lands that we don't want to see on the field. Sanctum of Ugin. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, converted mana cost 7 or greater, you can sacrifice it and search your library for a colorless creature card. Put it in your hand. Shuffle your library. Pretty good. Eldrazi Temple is a pretty good card in an Eldrazi deck. Eye of Ugin, I would say the same. Both very good cards. We got Temple of the False God. If you have 5 or more lands, it taps for 2. We're tapping for 2 right now. City of Traders, taps for 2. Play another land, sack it. Crystal Vein can tap for 2, you sacrifice it. Ancient Tune taps for 2, deals 2 to you. Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. That also is another one where if you have 7 or more lands, it taps for 2, otherwise just 1. And the last but not least, yes, Mishra's Workshop taps for 3. So you can use this 3 only for artifacts, but luckily for this deck, it only uses artifacts. So, Mishra's Workshop finishes out the lands at a total of, I believe, 35 lands. Could be too little. I'm still working the numbers on this. I have played off and on with this deck for a long time. It's constantly evolving and changing with new cards coming out, of course, but 35 so far has seemed pretty decent. So anyway, let's move on to artifacts. So we are in the artifact section of Kozilek. We are looking at 57 artifacts / artifact creatures, and it's pretty awesome. It's fun. Again, this deck is really fun to play. It's kind of one-dimensional with obviously just casting Kozilek and just getting there, and it's fairly easy to shut down with things like Vandal Blast and some other good stuff like Merciless Eviction. But all in all, it's just a fun deck to play because Colorless is fun. So we're gonna go ahead and drive OCD people crazy like myself, and we're gonna start right to left on this one because I have the light coming from this side, and this casts a shadow here, so you can't see the card as well that I'm putting down. So I'm just gonna do it this way. So we got Everflowing Chalice. Good 0. You pump mana into this, and then it makes mana for what you pumped into it every turn. Pretty good. Lotus Bloom, suspend 0, and then becomes Black Lotus. Lion's Eye Diamond makes 3 mana. You have to discard your hand, but most of the time you're doing that, you don't care because you're getting at least 4 cards back with Kozilek. We got Mox Diamond. Help you get there quick. Who's excited about that new Mox coming out, guys? I'm a little excited about it. I'm not gonna lie. I think Atraxa, it'll probably have a home in Atraxa because there's a lot of legendary stuff in there. We got Mox Opal, Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Mana Vault, Fellwar Stone. I know this one's not foil, guys. I'm sorry. I think there's an 8th or a 9th edition one. I think it's 9th edition. It's like $50, and it's like Fellwar Stone. You know, that's hard to $50 for Fellwar Stone. Like, I don't know. Mind Stone. You got Thought Vessel, Grim Monolith, as I'm sure you guys have seen my other 2 deck techs that I've put out, those cards are still in there. That's another thing too, guys. I don't swap cards. I don't put one card in here and one card in here to make the decks look better. Those are actually how the deck is. So I have 2 foil monoliths. I unfortunately don't have a 3rd one. I did not go that crazy, but yes, at least I have a regular one in here. We got Darksteel Ingot, Pristine Talisman, Unstable Obelisk. Hopefully somehow that becomes foil one day. I don't know though. Seer's Lantern. This one I'm kind of on the fence with. It's 3 for 1 and it lets you scry 1. It's okay, but there's at some point that will probably be replaced by something better. Worn Power Stone. Coalition Relic. Again, Atraxa has the foil one. Basalt Monolith. Pretty good with like Rings of Bright Earth. We've got Hedron Archive. Golem's Eye. Sisay's Ring. Thran Dynamo. Whoop. Skipping over Gilded Lotus here, you can't do that. Gilded Lotus. Dreamstone Hedron. So that's the rocks. I think it has 24 or 25 rocks. I can't remember off the top of my head, but something like that. We got Relic of Progenitus, again to screw with people's graveyards, just in case they play the crazy Marin stuff. Marin is always a problem. Lightning Greaves, I know these 2 are unforgivable. Lightning Greaves and Boots, I don't have extra foil ones, I only have so many. I have the Masterpiece ones, I think, in Geth. So I'm working on it. Eventually I'll get them. But Boots they reprinted in Masters 25, so that's sweet. So hopefully that price will go down a little. And then the Greaves, I'll probably get that promo one. I'm not sure yet though. That's, you know, work in progress, guys. We got Rings of Bright Hearth. Of course, that goes pretty good with Basalt Monolith. Candelabra of Tawnos. So this is another one that is on the card. You can't see it, but they errated it, so it has to tap to untap X land, so it's not just absolutely insane, or it just makes infinite right away. But pretty good in this deck, especially when I have lands that tap for 2 and 3. This can get abused pretty well. It's a pretty fun card. We got Erratic Portal. This helps me bounce Kozilek back to my hand and then recast him to draw more cards. Darksteel Forge makes stuff indestructible. Can be decent. I have ways to go search and put it into play, so it's kind of funny, like, Commander has evolved a lot in the last, like, I don't know, 3 to 4 years, where this card, in my opinion, isn't as strong as it used to be. This card used to be kind of a bomb back in the day in Commander, but now there's so many exile effects, it's slowly not as good as it used to be. But that's just my opinion. Maybe someone out there is like, I love Darksteel Forge, shut your mouth. We got Staff of Domination. I love this card. Very versatile card, obviously. We got Trading Post. This is a good way to help me sacrifice things, helps me get things back from my graveyard to my hand, and then helps me draw cards. It's a good utility card. Voltaic Key is pretty much in every artifact deck ever that makes mana. Torpor Orb. Good way to shut down ETB effects. We got Unwinding Clock. This does stupid things with letting me untap my artifacts during other people's turns, so I can abuse things like, I don't know, what was it? Staff? Yeah, Staff seems pretty good for that. We got Cloud Key. Uh-oh. Do you see the darkness? The darkness is happening because the stack is getting big. Oh crap, it was inevitable. Or I can just move this over a little bit. Maybe we'll do this. I don't know. Who knows? We got Cloud Key. Cloud Key is awesome. I almost always choose Artifact, but you can choose Creature too. Or why not both? Artifact, Creature makes it for both. Makes them cost 1 less. Semblance Anvil is awesome. Makes your stuff cost 2 less. Strionic Resonator is a bomb in this deck. It's super fun. I mean, why have Annihilator 4 when you could have Annihilator 8? Or why draw 4 when you can draw 8 cards? It's pretty fun, especially when you start copying this thing, it gets stupid. Speaking of stupid, that was a nice little segue there. Like, I don't know when they thought this card was a good idea, or how long they waited to print this card, but this card is not a good idea. This card, like, I don't know. I can't imagine this card lasting in Commander for another year. That would be shocking to me. But, I mean, it's just so dumb and broken in my opinion. You know, everybody has their own versions of broken and whatnot, but holy crap. You cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you have. Just so many ways to break this card. I don't need to go into details. Google Paradox Engine, whatever, and you'll see all the stupid things you can do with it. Planar Bridge is also awesome. I like this card. It's very mana intensive. You have to put a lot into it, but for a colorless deck, being able to search for something, just put it into play, it's a pretty good card. It's a pretty good card. Mirage Mirror helps you copy stupid things like Strionic Resonator or whatever. It's a good utility card. I really like that. Sculpting Steel. Basically clone an artifact like Strionic Resonator or Doubling Cube. Seems like a good target also. Let's see, double the amount of mana in your mana pool. This is really good in this deck. Again, the whole idea, guys, casting Kozilek, getting there, you know, so as many times as I can do that, I'm happy. Clock of Omens, you can tap two untapped artifacts you control, untap target artifact, so helps you make more mana or do more stuff. Blink Moth Urn is a pretty cool card. It basically at the beginning of, I think main phase, yeah, I just read the damn card instead of main phase 1. At the beginning of each player's pre-combat main phase, if Blink Moth Urn is untapped, that player adds 1 to his or her mana pool for each artifact he or she controls. So yes, this works for everybody. However, it greatly works in my favor more than theirs. That's why it's in here. We got Spine of Ishsa, something like that. It comes to target permanent, and then when it leaves, it can come back to your hand. This is a good thing with the sack outlets I had shown previously, things like Trading Post or is it Phyrexia's Core? I think it's I don't know. It's the land that lets you sack an artifact. Smokestack is just an evil, stupid card that lets you basically make people sacrifice permanents. At your upkeep, you can add a counter on there, and then people complain. That's usually what happens. We got Tangle Wire. Oh, you want to talk about people complaining? This is another good one. So, yeah, Tangle Wire is pretty good in this deck also. Considering you can tap Tangle Wire itself, it's pretty solid. Winter Orb is probably one of the more just dumb cards in the game, but I generally will swap this card out depending on who I'm playing with. But if I'm playing somewhat competitive with people, I will leave it in, but this card is definitely like on the fence for me, where I'm like, man, this is almost not fun Magic in my opinion, but you know, it's good in this deck, obviously, since all of the artifacts. But it really depends who I'm playing with. I have cards I can swap it with. So we got Palladium Mirror, solid creature, 2/2, 3 mana, attached for 2 mana. Scarecrow, you could sack him, and also return an artifact creature from the graveyard to play. Here's one of the best cards in the deck. Metalworker is absolutely stupid. You reveal any number of artifacts in your hand and add 2 colorless in your pool for each one revealed this way. So you could do dumb things with him, of course. You can get Kozilek out really fast with him. Forge Master is cool. Sack outlet again. You can sack 3 artifacts, search for an artifact, put it into play. Wormcoil Engine. This is a good target for Scarecrow generally. But yeah, sack him and then get the 2/3/3 guys and then get them back and just rinse and repeat. Pretty good. And a Duplicate helps deal with creatures, exiling them and all that good stuff. Same type of deal with Trading Post. So there you go. There you have it for artifacts and artifact creatures. We'll move on to a couple more creatures and then finish up. Back left to right, driving people nuts. We got Void Winnower. This card is hilarious. 9 mana, 11/9. Your opponents can't cast spells with converted mana costs even. That's dumb. Also, they can't block creatures with even, and yeah, Kozilek happens to be 10. That's decent. Ulamog is also 10, so I love Ulamog. Ulamog is just an absolute beast in Commander, in my opinion. Just really solid card. You freaking exile 2 things when you cast them. They can counter it, but you still exile their 2 best things, and then you attack them. And then, again, Strionic Resonator. Stupid. We got Karn, of course. Karn is awesome. I love Karn. I don't love the new Karn. As far as for Commander, it's probably good in other formats, but as far as commander, it's not nearly as good as this one, in my opinion. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think I am. Ugin, of course, is a house. A house in this deck. Just destroys everybody. No one likes to see him. Warping Whale is my saving grace against cards that destroy all artifacts. Like I mentioned earlier, like Merciless Eviction and Vandal Blast are always the first things that come to mind. Of course, it helps other things, but counters target sorcery spell. That is very useful for this deck. Scour from Existence just exiles target permanent. It's a decent card. And last but not least, we have All Is Dust. Each player sacrifices all colored permanents he or she controls. So this deck is colorless, so it's pretty good in here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video for Kozilek Deck Tech number 3. I do look forward to doing Deck Tech 4 in the future. If you guys did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. That would be awesome. As you know, YouTube has made it harder for the little guy to get views at this point because we don't have the advertisements, which means we don't get as many views. Please! If you guys would consider it, it would be awesome. But again, thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.